The crowd erupted into applause as the graduates tossed their caps into the air, the field alive with laughter, hugs, and flashing cameras. But in the far corner of the bleachers sat one girl who didn't move. Her cap rested neatly in her lap, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted her gown. Her name was Emily Carter, and while the world celebrated, she sat quietly in her wheelchair, her eyes shimmering with both pride and sorrow. No one noticed her. Not really. Her friends were somewhere in the crowd taking selfies, her classmates surrounded by proud families. For Emily, the seat beside her remained heartbreakingly empty. The camera panned slowly toward her face, the sunlight catching the tear that slipped down her cheek. No one could tell that behind that soft smile was a storm of loneliness and quiet strength. No one, except one man, a single father standing just a few feet away, holding 2 graduation bouquets in his hands, one for his own daughter, the other still undecided. That was the moment everything changed. It had been a long road for Emily, the daughter of the city's most powerful CEO, as Charles Carter. She grew up surrounded by luxury but starved of presence. Her father built an empire from nothing, but in doing so, he forgot the one person who needed him most. After the accident 3 years ago that left Emily paralyzed from the waist down, he buried himself deeper into work, blaming himself, running from the pain he couldn't fix. He sent nurses, therapists, and tutors. He sent gifts, flowers, and endless apologies through assistants. But he never sent himself. The mansion echoed with silence, and Emily learned to smile through it. She worked harder than anyone else in her class, determined to graduate on time, wheelchair and all. But as she watched every other student get hugged by their parents that day, her courage finally cracked. Across the field, Daniel Brooks, a mechanic and single father, cheered loudly as his daughter Lily ran into his arms. Lily was bright, bubbly, and the kind of girl who made friends everywhere she went. Daniel had raised her alone since her mother left years ago, scraping through long shifts just to afford her tuition. He wasn't rich, but his love was steady, loud, and present in every moment. As they laughed, Lily suddenly stopped and glanced toward the stands. "Dad," she whispered, tugging on his sleeve. "That girl, she's alone." Daniel followed her gaze. He saw Emily, small still and heartbreakingly alone among a sea of joy. Something twisted inside him. He didn't know her story, but he recognized that look, the quiet ache of being unseen. He told Lily to wait and slowly walked toward the bleachers, bouquet in hand. Emily noticed him approaching but quickly looked away. Embarrassed, she didn't want pity, especially not today. But Daniel crouched slightly beside her, smiling warmly. "Excuse me," he said softly. "I think someone forgot to give you your flowers." Emily blinked, confused. "Oh, no, these aren't mine." "They are now," he said, gently placing the bouquet in her lap. "You worked just as hard as everyone here. Congratulations, graduate." For a moment, she couldn't speak. She looked down at the flowers, bright yellow lilies, and then back up at him. Her voice trembled. "Thank you. I didn't think anyone noticed." Daniel smiled. "Sometimes the strongest people are the ones nobody notices. Doesn't mean they don't shine." Something in those words broke through her walls. Emily smiled, a real one this time, and whispered, "You sound like someone who's been through a lot." He chuckled. "Maybe. But today's about you, not me." As Lily joined them, Daniel introduced his daughter. The 2 girls clicked instantly, laughing over silly graduation moments and shared dreams. For the first time that day, Emily felt seen, not as the CEO's daughter, not as the paralyzed girl, but as herself. From a distance, Charles Carter watched everything unfold. He had arrived late, stuck in meetings that couldn't wait, only to find his daughter sitting alone, comforted not by family, but by a stranger. Something inside him shattered. In the following days, Emily and Lily became fast friends. Daniel often drove them both to volunteer programs or movies, and slowly, Emily began to rediscover pieces of herself she thought were gone. Daniel treated her like any other young woman, never fragile, never pitied. He encouraged her to pursue art again, something she'd abandoned after her accident. One evening, Emily invited Daniel and Lily to her house for dinner. The mansion was grand, cold, and painfully quiet. Her father had finally agreed to be there. The air was thick with tension when Charles opened the door. His eyes softened when he saw Daniel beside Emily's wheelchair. "You must be the man my daughter won't stop talking about," he said, extending his hand. Daniel shook it firmly. "Just someone who wanted her to know she's not invisible." Dinner was polite but strained until Emily, her voice calm but firm, said, "Dad, do you even know what my favorite color is?" Charles froze. "Of course I do. It's blue, right?" Emily shook her head. "It used to be. Now it's yellow, like the flowers Daniel gave me. They remind me that there's still light, even when life feels dark." Her words hung in the air, heavy and honest. For the first time, Charles saw the gap between them. The years of silence. The loneliness she carried. His eyes filled with regret. "Emily, I'm sorry. I thought giving you everything meant protecting you. I didn't realize I was taking away what mattered most." Daniel quietly placed his hand on the table. "You still have time to make it right," he said gently. "Love doesn't keep score. It just shows up." That night, something changed. Charles began making small efforts. Morning breakfasts, art sessions, long talks that started awkward and ended in laughter. Emily's world filled with color again. Months later, at an art exhibition downtown, Emily's paintings lined the gallery walls, each one telling her story of pain, courage, and hope. Her final piece showed a girl in a wheelchair, surrounded by yellow flowers, with two figures beside her, a man and his daughter, reminding her that family isn't always about blood, but about who shows up when it matters most. As people applauded, Emily smiled at Daniel and Lily in the crowd. Her father stood beside her, tears in his eyes. And in that moment, under the soft lights of the gallery, Emily realized that the emptiness she once carried had bloomed into something beautiful. She wasn't alone anymore. She was surrounded by love, one she never expected, but exactly the kind she needed. Because sometimes, it only takes one kind soul walking over to change an entire life forever.